Well, it all looks nice and organised and calm and collected, but if anyone could have seen what was going on while the credits were rolling, oh, of course you could. It will be our secret. Good evening and welcome to Littleport Christian Spiritualists this Thursday evening. Hey. Welcome one and all to this service of mediumship. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, Nick, you might be blonde, but you're not Tara Rice. Well, unfortunately, Tara's very poorly, so I have was volunteered, agreed to be volunteered to step in and cover. So we said, hello. We're back online. There we are. Thank you, everybody, for pointing that out. Well done, well done, well done. So, yes, Tara is unfortunately poorly, so we send our love and our healing thoughts to you. And, of course, welcome to everyone at home watching live or on rewatch, whichever it is, because we all know about the EastEnders thing. I'm not going to go on about it anymore, I promise, much. But, of course, tonight we are here. We are gathered here tonight to witness the proof and the truth of life eternal. And that is and always will be the primary and key focus. So let's get the ball rolling, the show running, the service alive by joining together and sending out our thoughts in prayer as we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother God, here we bring unto you this service and all those present, that we ask that we might witness the proof and the truth that life is indeed eternal. As we begin this service in your name, we ask that the veil be lifted and that the love and light of those that have gone before us shine through, come forward and show themselves and prove eternity is a thing. And as we place this service in your care and keeping, we make the statement as ever, that everything we do will be in the name of love, truth, and light. Amen. Amen. Well, friends, do you know what? This morning when I was at work, somebody dropped some salt. What a way to start an address, eh? Where's this going, eh? But no, seriously, this morning when I was at work, somebody dropped some salt and it spilt all over the place. And as I got my mop and my pinny and my hair all done up in a little thing with the rollers sticking out, singing The Hills Are Alive with the sound of music, cleaning it up, I stood there and thought, I wonder which one this is. Did it fall over their shoulder and is it for luck? Is it scattered to cause turmoil? Is it there to protect against evil? And I thought, you know what? Everyone who has their different thoughts on what casting salt onto the ground means has their evidence and their proof that it works. So is it the act of performing something, or is it the intent behind it? And that got me thinking, of course, not only about the fact that the bell was ringing and I needed to go and serve, but it got me thinking about many different rituals that are connected to faith and philosophy and ways of life. And you know what? It really is all about the intent, not the act that matters. The intent behind these things that we do with natural ingredients is the driving force behind it. Because so many people have so many different ways of working, it has to have some driving force behind it And it can't just be that particular item. What is it? And of course, that driving force, my friends, is the Spirit, the living Spirit within, the great Spirit watching over, and those in the world of spirit, helping out, keeping us safe, guiding us forward, giving us strength. But it's the intent that we put behind these actions that make the difference, that give the drive, that give the power. I was talking to someone yesterday about a particular feeling, thought, designed behind the universe, as you know, you frequently do. You know, you talk about the weather, you talk about the telly, and then you talk about how the universe was built and from day one to the end. And we were talking about the infinite power of the universe, and we were talking about how the great Spirit in the beginning of time was bored and lonely and wanted to understand itself a bit better. So it broke itself down into thousands and millions of itty-bitty pieces and injected those pieces into meat and blood and bone called human. For the great Spirit broke itself down. But of course, being a spark of the divine still gives you, in the words of the genie from Aladdin, phenomenal cosmic power. Now that's dangerous, so they need itty-bitty living space to keep them in check, just like the genie. And I was thinking about this and how it all tied in with someone throwing salt on my shop floor. And of course, that phenomenal cosmic power, even though it's not as phenomenal and cosmic when we are in this flesh and blood and bone, we are still connected to it. We are the driving force behind everything we do. We are the absolute intuition, the absolute thought, the absolute trigger for every act we make. And so if we decide to throw some salt into the wind, and whatever direction it goes, that's the path we're going to take, if we intended that to be the reason, that will be what it gives us. Because Spirit listens, and Spirit knows what's in our hearts. Spirit knows what we need. Spirit knows what we want, and that sometimes those two things don't always meet up and marry up. Sometimes it can take, 19 years for your path to take the direction you wanted it to. But then at the time you wanted it, you weren't ready. So Spirit decided, you know what? I'm going to annoy you. You're not getting the answer to your prayer yet. But it doesn't mean to say that it was the bad reason to not get the answer to your prayers. Because they have a bit of a unique perspective on the universe and can see the pitfalls, the dangers, and the problems that you might face if you get what you wish for. A bit of a genie thing going on at the minute. Our prayers will be answered if they are sincere, and they will be answered eventually. But don't be surprised if sometimes there's a few more turns in the road that you've got to take before you get that answer. But you will always get an answer, and that's important. Spirit will provide us with what we need when we need it. I truly believe that, and I truly have to believe that. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be stood here doing this. I wouldn't be stood here talking to you lovely people. I recognize that it can be difficult sometimes when you feel like you've not had your prayers answered. But the great Spirit knows what needs to be done. Would you like some water, my lovely? You can drink out the jug if you want. You've got some, okay. I don't mind. I'll share. Sharing brings me to one similarly related subject. Because as I was thinking this morning and talking to Spirit about this salt, I was reminded of how the universe likes to recycle and go through themes. And one of the themes of the Great Spirit is brothers. We've all heard the story of Cain and Abel. We've all heard the story of Isaac and Ishmael. Now that's a story and a half. Because that story is the creation of a split in the path of a religion to create two different religions. And while some feel very disappointed about how it went, others actually think, well, hey, this is how we got to be where we are, so c'est la vie. But the point is, it wasn't entirely Isaac's fault. It wasn't entirely Ishmael's fault. They chose to do certain things they maybe shouldn't have done, but they chose their path that was put before them. Some could say that the fault lies with Sarah for what she did. Isaac's mum and Ishmael's stepmum. But is that really true? What if the point is Sarah's prayers weren't answered so that two different tribes could take two different paths, break itself down, explore itself, and see how it can come back together in peace, in unity, but still have its own individuality? That's maybe why Sarah's prayer was not answered. There's still a little bit of work to do with that one. And I'm sure that I will be watching from the world of spirit saying the same thing in 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years' time. But the point is, we should never give up with our intentions and understanding and coming together and trying to, in some small way, divine the intent and purpose of the Great Spirit. Because that path brings peace, brings unity, and in some cases, a great deal of relief. Thank you all for listening, and God bless you all. Which leads me rather swiftly on to, before we have our reading, to see if it all ties in. I promised everybody a special announcement last week. Whew, it's time. Because you know how I was saying about how I was sweeping up salt from my shop floor? Well, in 2 months' time, it won't be. I won't have a shop floor. Because last week, I handed in my notice as an employee of a company, which still has to remain nameless, of course. But there's some rather lovely triple crunch granola over there that I bought today. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Still earning the wages. But no, from the 1st of July, I will be a full-time, hopefully, medium and minister serving spirit. And it means that I will have more time to do the work of spirit, more time to do the work of this church, and certainly more time to do the work of the Independent Spiritualists Alliance. To do the work of spirit has been my wish. Funnily enough, if you press rewind, for 19 years. And I've been praying real hard, but I never got my answer until recently. And now I have. So never think that your dreams cannot be achieved and your prayers cannot be answered. With luck, with hard work, and with a lot of help from Spirit, in a year's time, I'll be standing here and saying, it's going well enough that I can carry on. Otherwise, I'll be finding myself another shop floor and somebody throwing salt all over the place, and we don't want that. So we will work very, very hard for Spirit, I promise. But to be able to serve the living Spirit and the Great Spirit has been a dream, and I know that it will help to keep these doors open and give me the opportunity to do more things like workshops, as everyone keeps nudging, and perhaps even a regular weekly circle, which is something that it's been a long time since we've had in this church. So it's all exciting stuff. Oh, yeah. And you're back as well. There you go. So it must be that Spirit wants it. Well, I did too, and they finally agreed with me. So let's see what happens. And let's also see what Reverend Alan has to say with his reading and what Spirit guides his friends have to say. Let's say those magic words. Reverend Alan, are you there?
I certainly am. Good evening, Littleport. Good evening to everybody and everybody that will watch later on. I noticed that Tara is online, so healing prayers out to you, Tara. Get well soon. Tonight's reading, when you started your address, Nick, I thought, how is this going to tie in? But with my intent and Spirit intent, I think it actually not only ties in, but probably finishes off your address. We will see. It's called God Forgive Me When I Whine. Today, upon a bus, I saw a lovely girl with golden hair. I envied her. She seemed so gay and wished I was so fair. When suddenly she rose to leave, she hobbled down the aisle. She had one leg and wore a crutch, but as she passed, she had a smile. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two legs. The world is mine. I stopped to buy some candy. The lad who sold it had such charm. I talked with him. He seemed so glad. If I were late, it's to do no harm. And as I left, he said to me, I thank you. You have been so kind. It's nice to walk with folks like you. You see, he said, I'm blind. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two eyes. The world is mine. Later, while walking down the street, I saw a child with eyes of blue. He stood and watched the others play. He did not know what to do. I stopped a moment and then I said, why don't you join the others, dear? He looked ahead without a word, and then I knew he couldn't hear. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two ears, the world is mine. With feet to take me where I go, with eyes to see the sunset glow, and with ears to hear what I would know. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I'm blessed indeed. The world is mine. Thank you.
Yowza. Well, thank you, Alan. And it does indeed remind me of a hymn as well. Open my eyes that I might see, glimpses of truth thou hast for me. And it goes through every single verse as well. So absolutely brilliant, Alan. Thank you so, so much. And yes, I think it does tie it off in a nice little bow. And hopefully at least a full diary will be mine. But I promise if it's not, I will not whine. But thank you, Alan, so, so much. And God bless you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for what you do. And of course, we must be reminded, 15th of the month coming up for the drum circle workshop and healing, yes? Is it the 15th? Did I get it right this
15th,
time?
yes.
Wow, I'm getting good at dates. That's useful, isn't it? But brilliant. So we will, of course, see you live in the flesh that week. And
yes.
Until then, thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, I'm actually coming down that area on the Monday, so I'll be down all week.
Wow, excellent. Lock up your daughters, Reverend Alan's in town. God bless you, mate. Thank you.
Okay, and you. Have a good evening all.
I think I've bashed my elbow. Either, well, I haven't though, so I think somebody's already trying to get my attention, because that's been going on since the reading. Well, friends, speaking of pains and aches and everything, it's time to send our healing thoughts. It's the part where you get to do your mediumship, your work for spirit, and of course, always remember to ask for yourself. Now, when we send out our thoughts, please also include Jack, who couldn't make us tonight through Paulinus. And of course, please include Tara. And I also have here Alison, Cassandra, Grace, Mandy, Susan, and Jenny. Please send your healing thoughts to all of those people. But of course, ask for yourself and anyone else you know who is in need of healing as we join together and say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, here we bring unto you all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort, be they sick in mind, body, or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them. This we ask for those we know, for those we do not know, and those who have no one to ask for them. We ask for them now. Amen. Thank you, friends. Well, now is the time in our service when I'm going to hand over to our medium for the evening. I'll tell you what, let's just get straight on with it. Friends, should I come to you, please answer in a clear voice, yes, no, don't know. What else do I need to say? Yes. If the curtains start twitching, the chairs start spinning, and people start spinning around, that's the door. I'll be the first one out. Just follow me, because things like that don't happen here. Trust me. Unless anyone's had a few bevies, but that's a different story and a different night, to be fair. And also, friends, do consider that it's not always the person that you expect coming through. And I don't very often say that, so I think I might have one or two surprises tonight. But there we go. We'll see what happens. I think most of you have seen me work. I don't think anybody here has, because it's been fairly, I know it's been a while, but yeah, I'm just me. Don't worry about it. Friends, let's see who's coming through and getting us started. And that's all I'm allowed until the end of the mediumship, apparently. Better make it last. Right. Okay. Well, you were in a hurry earlier. Right, so the elbow's gone, so thank you. Friends, let's find out who it is. Right. As I begin to connect with Spirit, I'm made aware of someone coming in quite gingerly and slowly, actually. It's not that whoom that I'm used to. They haven't been shoved in the back and stepped forward, because that's very unbecoming. Thank you. So somebody who was very precise and very deliberate, someone who had an idea of the way the world should work and made sure that it did work in that way, certainly in her, thank you, in her environment. She was a lady of great determination, great resource, great courage, great strength, and also great humor. Thank you. Somebody to have a giggle with. I feel a friend with this person. I feel... I was going to say colleague, but that doesn't feel right. I do feel that you would have spent time working with this person, would have had conversations and worked in some way, be it a full-time job or a part-time job or even voluntary. There was some kind of work involved with this lady. Her very public face was completely different to her private face. So the way people knew her in the street, the way people knew her who were general casual acquaintances, she was very, very different to the way you knew her. I want to say that I'm a little bit shorter than me, maybe. I did wear glasses because I've just been told to put them back on. I might be able to see what's going on and where I'm going. Thank you. Oh, the elbow's back. The elbow is back. Thank you. She took that away. There's this wonderful sense of joy and release and relief with this lady. However, there is a great deal of sorrow and frustration about her passing and whatever condition that was. She's not telling me what or why at the moment, but I'm sure I'll try and dig something out of her eventually. Baby Barbie, may I come to you? Would you understand thank you. Would you understand this description of someone who's been passed around about 2 years? Oh, why did you say that? Would you understand why there was a problem with the L? Right, so that's the connection definitely to you. And if it's only, right, let me see if I can get something else out of this. Thank you. I couldn't call you Barbara. It's as though she didn't, it's like she had a pet. I can't quite, because I said baby Barbie or something like, would you understand that you had pet names for each other that, baby, okay. May I continue? Right. And I know this is new, so I'm going to be playing with it anyway, but I'm playing with it more than I have been. Would you understand that there was something around her wrist that would have memorable connection? It seems quite important there was something around her wrist. So it could have been a bracelet or a watch or something, but there was... Right, okay. And would you understand that she was always playing with it and fiddling about and prodding and poking it and getting distracted by it? Because I feel very, very distracted by it. There has to be a specific... I can't just say she had a watch because that would be cheating, but she was distracted by it. It's almost as though it was constant playing and anticipation. And I have to use that word, the anticipation. And it's like I was always looking at it, and it was connected to the phone. You said that, so I can't give that. But would you also understand that she was always waiting for calls? And I'm not talking general, work calls. No, she was always waiting for the phone to ring. And that's why she played with it. And you knew that, and you quizzed her about it. In actual fact, there was an occasion. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you, darling. Right. So you would have been sat together. You were virtually opposite each other. There was a cup there and a cup there. There were some biscuits there, looked like Golden Crunch creams or something nice. And you would talk, and you would sit there and frown at her. And she remembers seeing you frowning because you were invoking your other job and analysing her. Every single tick and every single move. You analysed every single thing she did because you would bring it up so gently and so discreetly. And she says, did you know that, right, I wouldn't know this because I've never seen you work in that way, but would you understand that she says, you've got a different voice when you're doing that job? And she's literally getting me to lean on, you have a different voice when you do. So I always knew when you were doing it to me, but I swerved the ball every single time except once. I'm also aware of a great deal of rumbling here. Whether that's to do with nervous tension, I don't know. It feels like nervous tension, but thank you. It's like she was always waiting for a firework to go off or a door to bang, and she would quite often react to that, which is something she kept very well hidden in public. And certainly someone who knew her as poorly as I did would not have noticed such things, but you didn't miss a trick. And I have to insert the inhale sniff there because you didn't miss a trick. And you can fill in the blanks there because once again, she would have said that when you were sitting there having that conversation. Okay. That's where it's from. Thank you. I've been getting this word all week. It's either a name of a person, a street, a place, and it's not the full because I'm not that good, but there's Wayne something in connection with her. There's a Wayne in connection, either a road or a place or a name of something or someone that is in connection with her. And I know you can't place it, but please hang on to it for a minute. Because I've been getting that all week. And what's that mean? I know is what she keeps saying. I know. And she's not telling me what she knows, but it's as though... You sure? Okay. She keeps saying, I know. And it's kind of like a refrain. But there is no regret attached to it. And she needs you to know that. Been watching you. I haven't been about as much as I'd have wanted, but I've still been watching you, and they've been keeping me updated on what you're up to. Okay. Would you understand that you've been shopping for clothes recently, and you've treated yourself to something rather nice, something to wear, something frilly and nice and flowing and light and airy, and she says, Don't like it. and it's almost like you would ask her opinion on something and she just tease you about it. And this is a tease. She says, oh, well, you didn't like it then. But she said, I didn't like it. Didn't like it. And I thought she was teasing you. So obviously you didn't either. Okay, fine. I love that. Okay, thank you. There's something else been echoing in my head all week, and I do feel that she's been plotting and planning this all week. I wish she could have told me a week ago that I'd be the medium. I could have planned my week a bit better, but all week there has been a line from Shakespeare rolling over my head. And I feel that this is, I've got to change it slightly, because obviously Shakespeare didn't put it like this, and frankly, neither did Romeo and Juliet. But it's from Romeo and Juliet, obviously. But I feel there is a memory link, but it's also a message for you. And it's how I'm going to end her conversation with you. A rose by any other name is Barbara. So she wants you to know how much she's grateful to your thoughts and your prayers and the intent behind them on her behalf. I do feel there is a very, very important link between you and a rose with her, because she would have been watching, of course. But she says a rose by any other name is Barbara. And I'll say, God bless you. Bless you. Thank you for working with me. Right. Okay. She's hanging around, by the way. She just went and stood over there and she said, right, you look a bit knackered. Do you want a hand? I was like, okay, fine. I don't actually think we ever worked together, so let's see. Okay. It's funny because last night I was talking about how I usually work and how there's usually some kind of weird and wacky statement that I make between messages. And tonight I'm having to behave myself and be good, which is really quite ridiculous for me, but hey. So as I link in with this gentleman, thank you, that was quick. Oh, you're good. Once again, he's a very deliberate man, but more in the sense of controlled silence. He was a man of few words. He was a man who spoke when words were needed. But other than that, he was usually fairly quiet and would just sit back and watch the world go by and see people fall AOT and cause themselves harm, because he could see things better and clearer than most people could. He was an observer. He was a watcher. He learned about people very easily. He could judge someone just like that and was 9 times out of 10 right. And which is why he kept quiet, because he watched rather than acted and spoke. I'm aware, thank you, that before this gentleman passed, he was quite badly in the hands with arthritis or some kind of condition that feels like it anyway. His hands were very restricted. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right, I'm a little bit taller than myself. When he was in his prime, I do feel then a shrinking, as though he started to get a lot shorter and a lot stooped, because I just literally feel like I'm going down, 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 down. And about the same build as me, so you're a great athlete. And I do feel that there was an awful lot of sadness towards the end of his life. I feel that was because he lost his partner first. So this gentleman's partner went before he did, and there was a lot of, and I think that's when he started to decline and started to not really be himself. I do feel a fatherly, grandfatherly link with this gentleman. Can anyone understand where I am and who I'm with? No is usually a good start, isn't it? You can only get better from there. Let's get something else. He's crunching on some sort of sweet. It's quite hard, and he's crunching away, but there's not much to crunch with, and he refused to have false teeth. And I'm getting an M name in connection. That's all I can see. An M in connection with him, not necessarily his, but maybe his partner's. Who are you with? You can tell me all that. You can tell me where you're going. I do actually want to be up the back of the hall. Can anyone understand all that? Oh, well, that's a good one, isn't it? One last thing and then I'll move on. Mother, would you understand any of this? No, look, Mum's not used to me giving her a message. This will be a very quick one. Think about the description I've just given. I didn't even notice because she stayed and helped, and that's why. Thank you. A gentleman who was quite big and powerful, a watcher, not a talker. He lost his wife before he went. After that, he declined. He wouldn't have false teeth. He had very few teeth and a name in connection with an M. I don't. That's the reason. Hello, Grandad. Right. Very briefly. Hello. Thank you for keeping me on my toes. And a good demonstration that Spirit will try and catch you out. Spirit will have good fun at your expense, but don't expect people to recognize their own father in a description. Well, I think I've earned an extra splash, and that teaches you a lesson too, doesn't it? God bless you. Thank you for working with me. Oh, bugger. Right. Let's see. I'm keeping Barbara working tonight as well, wandering about all over the place. At least it's this side, so it's not that elbow, eh? Right, okay. Joking aside, thank you, Grandad. See you later. Okay. May I come to you? As I connect with you, I'm very much made aware of a young-ish, be careful, male, somebody who would have been a friend or an acquaintance, someone quite emotionally connected, reasonably young, younger than me. So everybody's younger than me these days. It's not fair. Thank you. Now this is where the fun comes in. He's quite fit, quite athletic, very slender. I can feel my waist going inwards. It's great. I do feel he was a bit prissy about his hair because he doesn't like the fact that mine's not in perfect order. So he would have liked to have he liked to look good. He was a bit of a charmer and he knew it. Really good sense of humor, a good laugh, but there was that element of he knew he was attractive and liked. I do feel, thank you, I do feel he would have passed reasonably young, and I do feel as though I'm on a road when I've passed. Can you understand that? I remember you. Yes, no, don't know, without massive details. It's my job to tell you. Right, okay. Well, that's better. So much for yes, no, don't know. But at least I know I've narrowed it down a bit for you. He was a bit cheeky. He was a bit full of bravado. He was a bit of a teaser, which is why I'm slightly more active than I was when I got here, let's be honest. And he would have pulled your leg. He would have wound you up. He would have taken the mick. Which is why I had to do that, because I do remember what you're like. You'll tell me the message before I even get a chance to give it to you. But he would wind you up about that. If he was the medium stood as, come on, you're like, whoa, 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 I know what you're going to do. I know what you're going to, and it's like he would tease, he would wind up, but you never, ever, ever felt any malice from it at all, because it was just the way he was, the way he behaved, and it was done with passion and kindness and love. And because he was the one who always made you smile, even when you didn't want to, he could always get you to crack a grin. Would you understand that? Thank you. She's learning. Well done. Because you've needed someone to bring you up. I know you've been thinking about Circle all week, and that's one of the reasons why you're here. But another reason why you're here is because you have felt the weight of the world on you, and you just need that weight to crack a bit. Okay, that's fine. But you feel the need for change. You feel the need for the break of that. Don't do. You need a change. You need that break. You need that split from that frustration, because there is been things that have been frustrating you, and the things that you usually do to brush it off haven't been as effective as they have lately. Would you understand that? No? Okay. Okay. Difficult. Yeah, okay. Right, okay. As he finishes having his wind-up moment, he hands over back to me for a little bit more evidence, because I want to make sure that this is who it is. I am aware that there was the passing on the road, but I'm also feeling really struggling for breath, as though I wasn't, it wasn't instant. He kept going, and he fought, and he fought, and he can remember. Oh, he says, it's all right, I'm over it now. But all he could remember was really, really trying to breathe. And he said he says that's the first time I was ever really, really worried. But it was me. I thought I was going to be all right, because I've got up and dusted myself off 1,000 times. I'm indestructible, me. And he really does give it the big eye out. I'm indestructible. And that was the first time he realized he wasn't. He's also very much aware that I can't put it like that. No, it's you. I've got it. He said, you understand he has a really dark sense of humor sometimes. would you understand that he would say, I wasn't the only one crushed when I passed. Everyone felt crushed. But he says, they felt crushed because I lost. I actually did feel crushed. And really? Oh, well, that explains the breathing. But he's literally making a joke about it. And I struggle to give that kind of info because I don't like joking about things like that. But he would have. And he literally said, I wasn't the only one. And I was like, okay, thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah. Well, at least if right, okay. Yeah. Well, at least he found a way of telling you in his time old fashion. He's still worried about you needing a pick-me-up. Remember that it's how they view you. And thank you. Would you understand that you're a lot calmer these days than I've known you a number of years, but I've always seen you as quite a placid and calm, or excitable, but calm person. But he would have known you a very different you. A little bit wilder, a little bit naughtier, a lot cheekier. I cannot say, yes I can. You had a right gob on you. Okay. And I think that's what he's seeing, that perspective, because he doesn't, everyone always used to describe him as a bit of a Peter Pan. He would never grow up, and it's been quite a challenge to see all of his friends growing up. And I think he misses that a bit. He says, it's still you. You're still in there, and don't wind her up because you will see the gob. But he's actually commenting on how much you've grown. And it's not that huge amount of time since his passing, but he's seen a huge difference in that time in you. And also one other friend, a male who he was extremely concerned about after he passed. It's like he just completely fell apart. But even he's managed to bring it back to some sense of reality. So if it's possible and plausible, please pass on his pat on the back for bringing that back. Okay. Would you understand that he would sing to you? Or he would sing at you, more accurately, not necessarily sing to you, as in ballads, but he would sing at everybody. Right. Because I feel like I want to break out in a song, but for the life of me, I can't think of any at the moment. And it's just to show that he hasn't changed. Once again, that humor comes back. He said, well, everyone said I'd never grow up, and I didn't. And I don't care. And the reason he doesn't care is because he's him. And he says, I am a little bit more responsible. I do watch over my friends and keep an eye on them, but I'm still me and I'll never change. And I have to be careful how I phrase this because he's trying to bait me into saying naughty words. If you manage to, all amongst you, get your finger out of the pie and get yourself back to where you were 5 or 6 years ago, you never know, I might come and give you a hand from time to time. Just to bring your spirits up a little bit as well. So take that for what it is, a friend saying hello and the dark humor, obviously. Oh, I ain't done with you yet, he says. That That's not a flower. Okay. He just picked something up, and I was hearing the beginning of a word, and I thought I knew what the flower was going to be. But it isn't a flower at all. He's just picked up, and your parting gift is a frog. I don't know why, but I was hearing croak, and I thought, oh, it's going to be crocus. But no, it was the croak of a frog. So did he used to make you jump with stuff like that? I don't see you getting scared by them. But he wants to give you so whatever it is, he wants you to have this frog. So that's all I can say. And thank you for working with me. Frog. Oh, so it's a spiritual symbol. See, and this is what I was talking about. I've never heard that one, so now I've learned something too. So yes, it's the frog at the door waiting for it to open. There we go. Which ties in with what he was saying a minute ago as well. There we are. Right, let's move on before he says anything else that I shouldn't. Thank you for that, Ben. Oh, hello. Hello. Thank you, sweetie. And thank you for the frog. It's appreciated. I've never heard that one. Okay. A lady's just stepped forward and said, you've not heard of a lot of things yet. I was like, okay. I do feel a steely, cutting wit with this lady. She's very tall, very bright, very looming, but also very gentle, kind, and sweet to those she wants to be. I think that she could be very harsh with her humor when she wanted to be. Would you understand that this is a lady in your life, young man? Because when I felt the height, I was drawn to you. Would you understand that there is a female of a paternal nature that would describe either mother, grandmother, sorry, problems with the teeth? Okay. Okay, I have to go back to this. Oh, thank you. I have to go back to this very. She would tell people off for not standing straight. She was that kind of person. You stand up straight. She's not. Oh, polish your shoes. Look at that. I hadn't noticed that until now. Look at them shines. She's the polish your shoes, and obviously you have. Look, blooming heck, I can see myself in them from here. So you would have got that kind of treatment from her, and maybe even that influence from her about making sure that your appearance is smart, to the point. You've got to be the best you can possibly be. She's not so keen on your glasses, but everything else is fine. I don't know why she's not so keen on your glasses, but, you know, I'm sure I'll find out in a minute. But the polishing and the shoes, the very, but it's this brash set I'm back to. She would always have a one-liner to bring someone down a peg or two when they thought they knew it all. She was about balance. She was about calmness. She was about bringing people, and she hated to see people with ego. Oh, thank you. There's that word popping in again. She hates to see people with ego, and she always knew how to bring them back down to earth with a bump. And you still don't know who I'm with, do you? Oh, okay. He's testing me. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. This is where you get it from. Because I've just been reminded of how you are with mediums. Because I was working, I'd forgotten. I'd also forgotten that I should have been looking in that direction. And I'm not, so I'm not going to, because she's all about order and control. And this is where you get it from. Excuse me. She would get excited. She would get off coughing towards the end of her life, because that's not me. But I do know that you get your what's that word? Thank you. Austere personality from her. This is a woman who had a huge amount of influence on your life. So I am going to say that it's not grandma, it is mum, or someone who would have behaved like a mum. So she would have been around more than mum. To you, she was mum. She was the mother figure. And so she had that huge amount of influence on you. But when I work with her, she has just got so much energy. This woman, you could never bring her down. Yeah. I know you've got an interest in similar styles of music to what I have. When I said you can't bring her down, I got an ELO song with Don't Bring Me Down. And I went to say Bruce, and she said, no, that's not the word. So everything had to be right. You couldn't cheat. You couldn't twist things around. And you certainly tried, but you could never twist things around to your way, because she could see right through you. And she's using the don't bring, because it's not, I can't remember what the word is supposed to be, but everyone says it's don't bring me down, Bruce. They threw that in by accident as a trick and as a wind-up because they were going to go to Australia. That's not the word that it actually is in the song as it was written. And she would have known trivia. Careful how you put that. She would have known trivia like that. And she would have been insistent that we do things the proper way. Whew. Thank you for the breather, dear. You could never get a word in edgeways with this woman because she was just so flowing. It's like her whole life was scripted, because it felt like she never put a foot wrong, never said a word wrong, and she certainly would have conveyed that opinion to most people, that she couldn't put a foot wrong and she never said a word wrong. We know different, don't we? We know different, don't we? I do feel that there's a bit of antagonism here in that statement, but we know different, don't we? Because somebody's very good at pointing out the flaws in others. I want to say before I continue with this statement, she really does like you. But she also wants to give you a right royal ribbing and have a right royal ruckus with you, because you were one of those very few people that were prepared, comfortable, and competent enough to stand up to me. That's why you were the only one that I would tolerate. And I do use that word, tolerate, because she tolerated people most of the time. But that was a barrier, and that was a wall, and that was a defense. And the more you got to know her, the more you realized that. I don't think you ever knew any different to that. You were always aware of that. But something stopped you from pointing it out. Okay. Please don't hate me. This is from her. She says, I can't bring myself to say it really is true what they say about men, isn't it? They always end up looking like their fathers and marrying their mothers. And I'm going to get a smack for that, but it wasn't me. I know I'll get the blame for it, but that was, in her own way, she's saying, thank you. Because somebody's got to keep him in check. And I don't know whether there was a bit of antagonism in general towards men with her, but she says, but don't worry, dear, for a man you're doing pretty well. I'm not going to beat about the bush. I know that you have made choices that you know I would not have approved of. But I wasn't always right. And don't you dare tell anyone I said that. Sorry, love, you're on camera. But I wasn't always right. Okay, and as she starts, she was the kind of person that would have her rant, have her moment, say a piece, and then sod off. Because she's literally, right, I'm done. That's it, go, I'm going. And as she starts to step away, she just asks me to she didn't do things by halves, thank you. I'm not going to be able to carry that home for him. She wants to give you a cherry tree. I don't know why, whether it's a memory link or just something to be different, something difficult, and something to make your life awkward, or whether it would make an excellent cover for the problem in the garden. I will say God bless you and thank you for working. Just time for one more, I think. Okay. Right. As I step forward, I'm feeling very nervous. I feel a bit nauseous, actually, with nerves. But there's something else to this nausea as well. I do feel that it was something to do with passing as well. I felt sick all the time. Not that I would let people know about that, but going back to making the thank you. The reason I've had to make the water last is because of this lady. She would make the water last. She would be sipping and sipping to ease that nausea, and so people wouldn't notice. So she'd take regular but tiny, tiny sips just to make people think that things weren't as bad as they were. I'm also very much aware that, thank you, I'm towards the end of my life, I would hunch forward an awful lot. I would lean forward an awful lot. And it was my way of controlling the pain once again to try and cover it up. But at that point, the cat was out of the bag. And I've got such a rotten head with this lady, but she was a powerhouse and she would just power through for the benefit of everyone else. Okay. I am mother. Can I come to you two, please? Would that all make sense? She's saying in hindsight, she thought she was being clever, but you both saw right through it, especially the water. That was really quite an important one, which is why she's set it up. She was very good at setting things. She must have been great at Christmas because she had things planned out for weeks and months in advance, just like that glass at the beginning of today. So you would have had great Christmases and even better birthdays, because let's face it, Christmas is great, but it's somebody else's birthday. This birthday thing is all about you. And it was all about you. In hindsight, I knew that I wasn't covering it up very well, just in the same way that when she was either sitting, reclining, or laying here, and the room kind of extends out that way. I'm closer to the wall here, and there's a door just there, and as it opens, there's two people stood whispering behind that door, thinking that they're not being heard. Well, I did hear you. So just as I wasn't very good at covering things up, you weren't very good at whispering, but you never could keep things from me, could you? So she heard whatever it was you were saying. It made her realize. I don't think she would have admitted to hearing you at the time, but you would have noticed a visible change in behavior from that point on, because she responded to what she heard you saying. Thank you. As hard as it is, in many ways, that was the proudest moment of her life. To see these two messy, silly, naughty children become full-blown adults preparing to take charge. And actually agreeing with each other for a change, which, you know, was quite a miracle in her book. She says, I was never more proud of you two at that moment. Okay. What order do you want to do it in? Okay. Thank you for being their rock. Thank you for being the woman I always told you you would be. And thank you for proving him wrong. Pass them along. Okay. She's met up with someone up there who she used to have a lot of talkings and chattings with and gassing away. And she says, occasionally, you'll feel your ears burning. All three of you, even at once, because that's when we're talking about you. Because we talk about you a lot. So my ears burning now as well. We talk about you an awful lot. All three of you. There's someone else as well. There's another. There's another. Always was the quiet one. Tighten your belt. Loosen your shoes and learn to dance. Your turn again, sorry. And carry on being that fun but level-headed wisdom that you know they both need when they suddenly start to forget who they really are. Because you both do forget who you are. And you start to go, which is why you need to loosen your shoes and dance. You need to tighten your belt because, okay. I don't know if there's some sort of memory link or some sort of amusing story about her driving, but she just said, "Buckle up, kids. Get ready for a wild ride." And it's a memory link, but it's also an indication of what she's got planned for you. All of you. Okay. She also didn't give a damn what she said to people, no matter what they were wearing. Because I'm going to have to say it, I'll edit it as best I can, but her words were, "All right, now shut up and sod off, because everyone wants to go home." And thank you for listening, and God bless you. And thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you've had some evidence, some proof, some upliftment, some laughter, some emotional release that was much needed tonight. And even if it was just congratulations for learning to polish your shoes. Thank you all. I am aware that somebody... Thank you. Sometimes things are better off being a mystery. You're not going to get the answer you want ever. Sorry. But apparently she slipped a few things in to confirm some things. But some things are better off being a mystery. Absolutely. And when it comes to the world of spirit, all we can do is celebrate the path that we have walked with those that we have walked with. And whether I came to you or not, I can tell you quite categorically that there are hundreds and thousands of spirit people in this room tonight. And they're not here for me, and they're not here for the camera. They're here for each and every one of you. So thank you all. God bless you all. And that's that. So, friends, let us pray. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to witness your proof and your truth that life is indeed eternal, that we are all one and equal and willing to learn and grow as individuals, and that your light will shine upon our feet to help us do that. I ask for a blessing truly to be placed on each person here present and everyone who hears these words, that your light and love might shine across the world as a beacon, as a song, as a summoning to upliftment, love, laughter, and unconditional compassion. And so as we go out into the world, we remind ourselves that no matter how tall, no matter how high and how difficult the mountain we face, we do not ask you to move the mountain. Just give us the strength to climb until we meet again in your name. Amen. Friends, thank you. Our medium for next week is Sharon Hall. She will be here next week. A reminder that the Mind, Body and Spirit event is just blowing up massively huge, and that will be on the 31st of July. A reminder that the next drum session will be on the 15th of May. And what is going wrong, because Nick can remember dates at last. Thank you all for your continued love, support, friendship. God bless you all. Now, we're going to have the raffle in just a moment, but I am reminded, thankfully, there are people behind me still telling me what to do, that it is time to show encaustic art a la Hannah that can be acquired at the Mind, Body and Spirit on the 31st. So for everyone watching at home who wants to print and capture the screen, I'm going to have it that angle so it reflects a little bit for a change. Print screen now. The silver reflects. Here you go. It doesn't. Let's have another angle. There you go. But there you go. Yeah, come and get one. They're lovely. Friends, thank you all once again. From Littleport Village Hall to everyone at home, may the peace of the Great Spirit go with you all. And from Littleport, 1, 2, 3, good night, and God bless you all. Hit it, Mike.